3 versus 1. The last opponent is called out CT. GG easy, this round's in the bag. Or is it? Repositioning is such a beautiful skill. Just by moving around and constantly switching your position, you can truly amaze your opponents and spark sophisticated discussions about where you actually killed them from.
Oh my god!
But what actually makes good repositioning? Well, I'm gonna give you two concepts. The first one I call macro repositioning, and it's probably the one more familiar to most players. It refers to completely changing your position whenever the enemy gains info on where you are. This could be after getting a kill, after being spotted by utility such as a Sova drone, or after something subtle like tapping the spike in a clutch situation. What you need to understand is that info is such a big part of Valorant. As soon as the enemy knows your position, they are going to be ready for that fight. With their movement, their crosshair placement, and even their reaction time is going to be faster when you peek them from an angle that they expect. But what if I told you that you could change position so quickly that you'll catch enemies with their pants down in spite of getting called out just a second ago? That's what fast repositioning is for. Here we are in a retake situation on Icebox and are able to get the first frag from top 410. The enemy will instantly call that someone is in that position, so our job now is to keep moving. With a quick jump onto pipes, we're suddenly in a different position and able to catch the enemy KO completely off guard, because with the 410 call, he is not ready to be peeked from pipes. In scenarios like this, when utility is flying around and gunshots are being fired,
Ist keine Hälfte.
Aus 120.
it doesn't matter much if you make noise with your repositioning. Prioritize being quick and always moving around. That is what's going to net you kills. But what should you do then in a situation where it's so silent that you could hear a pin drop? Now you can't move around and change positions quickly, and so that's where sneaky repositioning comes in. It's especially useful in clutch situations like this one. We are in a 1-on-2 situation on Lotus post plant, so the enemies need to defuse the spike. We peek towards tree from drop and exchange a brief line of sight with the Cypher. Our position is known now and both enemies are going to close in quickly, so we need to change position. Luckily for us, the line of sight is broken again when Cypher opens his cage, and this is the timing that we were looking for. Game sense is key in spots like these, so try to put yourself in the opponent's perspective. Where have they last seen me? What's their current info? And how are they going to approach that angle? With practice, your intuition is going to shape and you're going to make better decisions. In this case, we're able to get out of drop and sneak towards backside and can now hold a very nice off angle onto the spike. And sure enough, Sage runs into our crosshair completely unaware, as she probably wants to tap the defuse to bait us out from drop. Quickly after, we are also able to win our aim duel against the Cypher, resulting in a nice 1-on-2 clutch. One important extra tip for sneaky repositioning is that it's not always dependent on the enemy having seen you somewhere else right before. If your position is unlikely and surprising enough to the enemy, you can catch them off guard anyways. This works especially well on maps with elevation changes and weird positions such as Icebox. So we got macro repositioning in the bag, and that's great. Unlucky though that there's many situations we can't use it in. I'm talking about those situations when you're engaged in a fight or trapped in a spot and you can't make big changes to your positioning. This is where the second concept comes to our rescue. It's called micro repositioning, and it's such a cool skill gap you can gain on your opponents. The main goal of micro repositioning is to make slight changes in your position to throw off the opponent's crosshair placement. Let's first apply it to peeking. So if you peek an angle and then quickly go back into cover, the enemies that saw you peeking that angle are now going to adjust their crosshair placement to how you just peeked, because they still have that visual image in their head. And if you don't want to get your head popped, what you need to do now is change the angle. Simply position closer towards the wall that you're peeking or step further away from it. If you have elevation changes available to you, that's even better. These small changes in how you peak the angle the second time around are going to make a huge difference to your opponents, as they are going to have a much harder time hitting you. Never peak the same angle twice in a row. You can see pro player Thwyfo applying and explaining this concept in these clips, and he's able to win the duel against Jet in a short because of it. He is a great player and his videos with educational notes give a ton of insight, so make sure to check out his channel. He has a great music taste as well. Now, what makes micro repositioning even better is that you can apply it to holding angles as well. If an enemy peeks you and goes behind cover again, never stay in the same position while you hold them. This is you begging to be Ferrari swung with perfect crosshair placement and being killed before you even have a chance to react. Instead, use that little time window when the enemy prepares his peek to make a few steps to the side and maybe even forwards or backwards. You can also crouch or uncrouch depending on what you did the first time you got peeked. This will make it so that the enemy confidently swings around the corner, certain they are going to land with their crosshair on your head, only to find out that you're in a totally different spot waiting for them with open arms. This also helps when multiple enemies swing you in a row. Here we have another example from Thwyfo, who's holding a close angle on split A side. He gets 2 very clean kills and right away positions deeper into the angle. The Astra that's swinging next knows for sure that he is going to be around the corner, and yet she stands no chance. The new angle that Thwyfo is holding surprises the Astra and gives him the advantage in the duel. Now, generally speaking, repositioning has a lot to do with game sense, as I already mentioned. And if you're interested in improving yours, then I would recommend watching our first gameplay breakdown, Inside the Mind of an Immortal 3 Player, next. It offers tons of insights and little valuable tips on how to outplay your opponents, and it's linked right here. I'll talk to you all in the next video. See you then, much love, peace!